The media is lying to you about the next election. Keir Starmer and the Labour Party won the 2024 election with a huge majority. So why is he now on track to deliver Labour's worst ever result? There's three big reasons why, and the last one could be the most important. The most obvious reason is Keir Starmer's own dishonesty and incompetence. Listen, it's a very easy game to play. What did Labour promise in the last election? It was one word: change. Now answer this honestly. Has anything changed for you since July of 2024? Because for me, it definitely hasn't. If anything, it's gotten worse. And that's why people hate Starmer right now. Don't believe me? Take a look at his favourability rating. You can see here in July of 2024, when the election came to a close, he was at his height, with most people believing in his message of change and a lot of people actually voting for him. But eventually, after a year of fake promises and complete dishonesty, you can see his popularity drop off a cliff. And he's now one of the most unpopular men in the UK. By refusing to tackle child poverty and avoiding the need to tax billionaires, Keir Starmer has put himself between a rock and a hard place. Either way, he's about to be embarrassed. He's about to lose the next election in a big way. And who's to say he'll even be there in 2029, with many Labour members plotting a return of Andy Burnham to Parliament and potentially as Labour leader.
MPs were in touch with me, but let me also give an honest explanation of what I said to those MPs. It's not up to me. It's not my decision. That's a matter for you, for the party in Parliament. And also I said to them, and it's got to be about more than a personality contest.
He didn't rule it out, and he has clashed with Keir Starmer before, most recently over welfare cuts.
He simply didn't have the backbone to challenge the elite, and for that he will pay the price. Starmer's lack of cojones can be best summed up by the child poverty issue. Just today, Keir Starmer has announced that a task force that he commissioned has told him that the best way to end child poverty is, you guessed it, ending the 2-child limit on benefits. And I think this example is exactly why people have lost faith in politics. Why do you need a quango, a task force of highly paid civil servants to tell you what's right in front of you? What the average British person can tell you in a millisecond of looking at the poverty in this country. Children are in desperate help of some assistance from the government, and they've been refused it for over 14 years of Tory rule. Keir Starmer's refusal to remove that cap and the legacy of Tory punishment is exactly why people have lost faith in him. He's refused to do the exact things he claimed he would do, change the country. He's instead carried on with the status quo, and people remain struggling. So you might be thinking, how did Starmer win in the first place if he's so unpopular? Well, it's because he offered hope under false pretense.
Can you guarantee that under your leadership, the 2019 Labour commitments to nationalise water, energy, rail, the Royal Mail, they'll all be in Labour's next election manifesto?
I've made that commitment.
Of course, I understand
This is not a manifesto.
Well, what about university tuition fees then? Will you remain committed to scrapping them in your first term?
They're all pledges, Andrew. So the answer to these questions is yes.
So university tuition fees being scrapped will be in a Starmer manifesto?
Yes, that's why it's
the
a
next
pledge.
election.
He lied when he ran as Labour leader in 2020, and he lied again in the 2024 election. And guess what? One man is offering to do the exact same thing, but just in a different way. Meet Nigel Farage, the man expected to be our next Prime Minister, as him and the Reform Party are expected to win big at the 2029 election. This should absolutely terrify you. Farage's most recent announcement was that he wants to revoke indefinite leave to remain. If you don't know what that is, it's basically the system under which EU nationals can actually claim to stay in the UK permanently and have no threat of being removed, even though they're not a citizen. It's how many families actually came together, mine included. My mum is actually part of that scheme. She's an EU citizen, and obviously I'm now a British citizen. So Nigel Farage's plans would split my family, but not just my family, it would split families all across the country up. If you think that's bad, wait until we get closer to the election. Farage and his cronies will release even more xenophobic and racist policies in an attempt to divide the country and destroy the very fabric of what makes this country so amazing: the multiculturalism, the diversity, and the overall acceptance that anyone can truly be British. They're willing to do all of this just to protect their mates in the billionaire class, to stop them from even paying that little bit more tax. They're terrified of it. They're terrified of you realising who the actual enemy is. As they say, the real enemy of the working class doesn't come in a dinghy or a small boat or even through an EU national scheme. It comes in a limousine, in a private jet. That's the real enemy here. The divisive rhetoric from Farage, Reform, Tommy Robinson and the rest of the far right is exactly what threatens Starmer in the next election, because he's refused to confront it head on because, again, he doesn't have the cojones to do it. Instead, he's adopted their language, calling our country a potential island of strangers if we continue to allow asylum seekers to arrive.
Now, in a diverse nation like ours, and I celebrate that, these rules become even more important. Without them, we risk becoming an island of strangers, not a nation that walks forward together.
The thing the media won't tell you is that Farage isn't actually that popular. If anything, he's one of the most unpopular individuals in the country. What Keir Starmer doesn't realise is that no matter how unpopular Farage might be, he's taken advantage of a moment in British politics that Keir Starmer once took advantage of. This moment is the idea of losing hope. People have completely abandoned politics and are now willing to engage in racist rhetoric, xenophobic rhetoric, as their only solution to fixing this broken country. That was until we've seen there's an alternative. Now, the biggest reason why Keir Starmer will lose the next election is not Farage, and it's probably not himself. It's the fact that we potentially have something new. Something different, something brave, something we can challenge the establishment order with. The British left is on the rise, with the Green Party having a new leader and Zarah and Jeremy Corbyn forming a new party called Your Party. I think things are looking up. Don't just take it from me. We know that Keir Starmer and the rest of the Labour Party are absolutely terrified about this. That's because the Green Party is apparently planning to replace Labour as the left of centre party in the UK.
Because when we look at Keir Starmer and what this government have been doing, whether it's the two-child benefit cap, the disability cuts, the genocide in Gaza, my message to Labour is very clear. We are not here to be disappointed by you. We are not here to be concerned by you. We're here to replace you.
What the establishment doesn't understand is that the left are the antidote to the disease that's currently plaguing British society. Late-stage capitalism. The wealthiest 1% of households currently have more in wealth than the bottom 50% combined. At a time where not even 10% of people have savings in their account in the UK, and child poverty rates, malnutrition rates are all through the roof. It's time people actually got their get back. And what I mean by this is people need to rise up, and the political parties on the left are starting to realise that. The big question is, can the left actually get itself together to challenge the far right? The arrival of Your Party excited hundreds of thousands of people across the country, with over 800,000 initial sign-ups to the party. It looks like Zarah and Jeremy are onto something, and despite the rocky start, they had a bit of a fallout, I still think there's hope. That's because what I think has been missing from the British left, and not just the British left, but British politics generally, is that imagination, that hope, that belief, that drive, the determination to build something different. Because for so long we've been using the same narratives, the same ideas, Thatcher, capitalism, rare-tear-tear. But at the end of the day, the British public are far ahead of us, and they know something is deeply broken in this country. People are suffering at the hands of greed. Big companies like Amazon, Starbucks, tech giants like Facebook, Google are refusing to pay tax. And like I said, Keir Starmer and the government lack the cojones to challenge them on it, take that money back. The money that we rightfully created, that money is ours, and it should be going towards the NHS. It should be going towards reducing child poverty completely, not just halving it. It should be removing child poverty as a concept. That's what the money should be going towards. And then we can build a society from the ground up that represents the true values of being British. Fairness, hard work. Those are real British values that don't happen in the UK anymore, because so much is based on nepotism, because we'd be lucky to get a job if we work really hard. It's all about who you know and what you know. And for so long, the British public have shut up and dealt with this. I think it's time that they started to realise, and I think they are realising, that this society isn't built for them. It's built for the 1%. And it's time to flip that round. People are sick and tired of working long hours to barely pay their bills just to rinse and repeat it the next month. And that's what Nigel Farage and the left actually have in common. They've diagnosed Britain with a sickness. The issue is we've both got two different diagnoses. One is trying to protect his friends in the elite class, making sure that we focus on something else that's not them destroying the environment or refusing to pay tax. The other is a solution to the problem, a real solution. An alliance of political parties and communities that are ready to rebuild Britain. Seriously. Let me know what you think in the comments below and who you plan on voting in the next election. Peace out.